Alright, so welcome to the very first Supreme tutorial. Supreme Bushes, God Bushes have decided what they wanted to learn from this very first tutorial. Live in Spirals was actually the person who suggested this topic. He wants to know my process for writing scripts and editing videos. And then Shinichi jumped on that and said, yeah, I would love to know why editing takes so long. So I've got Live in Spirals with me in chat. Say hello. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. So I find it, and this is kind of what I want to do with Supreme tutorials. I really find the interaction very, very important because I find that when you're trying to teach something, you have to be interrupted every once in a while. Like, I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff that I do every day. So a lot of this technical stuff, sometimes I just gloss over things that for people that don't deal with this on a daily basis, it's Chinese, it's jargon. I don't know. It's like what did you say? I don't understand that word. So I really think that the best way for you to learn or to understand a topic is to have this constant back and forth. So I find voice chat essential for that. That said, I do have some things prepared. It's Renegade, I see you in chat, but I'm not gonna have an easy way to read chat because of the way I have things set up. Sorry. So let's start with the scripts. And scripts, I use Google Drive a lot. Why? Because as you know, I work with Rinnegan on editing. I work with Vegeta sometimes. I work with Warrock. And Google Drive is super easy for sharing stuff. Sometimes I include links in the scripts and stuff like that that they can then access to pull footage, to I don't know, to access a source or something like that. And it usually starts with research when there is a script in a video. Some videos don't have scripts. For instance, the Shinobi Striker videos, the reviews, usually those start with just the gameplay. I'm just playing the game, just having fun with you guys, and trying out a character. What happens after that is I make a montage of cool moments, and I'm going to show you that example. And after that montage, that's when I start writing the script, and the script is written to fill in the gaps between the funny moments. But when there's no script, you kind of just jump over the step, right? That's not an interesting thing. I'm going to be showing you the Astral Chain review as an edit, and I'm going to be showing you the Fairy Tail game video as an edit. These are my two most recent videos that I've uploaded to the channel. Fairy Tail game, Everything We Know, and the Astral Chain Globko review. I'm going to be showing you the project file for editing these two, but for scripts, I mean, they're done, so I can't really teach you much from here. So I think the most interesting way I could probably go over my script writing process is to maybe start from scratch and show you an in-progress script. So another amazing game, Doomed to Fail, is going to be a video next week. This is centered around Granblue Fantasy Versus. And in this one, I kind of just sat down and started writing an essay. Now, it's, as you can see, there's a lot of line breaks. And this is just so it's easier to read when I am doing the voiceover. I usually zoom it all the way in and go, okay, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but it's kind of a painful topic for me, so I've been putting it off, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, just kind of wrote this like an essay. That said, the ideas are not organized at all. I'm just writing everything that I want to say, I'm putting in here. And then maybe this paragraph doesn't belong here, it belongs later in the video. Then this paragraph maybe belongs later in the video. And as I arrange things, I have to make sure they connect to one another, and I may make some small adjustments. For instance, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, this is what it initially looks like. Granblue is known for a wide cast of characters, game modes added, expectation versus reality equals success or failure. This is jargon, but I know exactly what I want to say with this. For instance, in this case, the argument is that Granblue Fantasy Versus is doomed to fail before it even comes out, even though it is an amazing game. Why is that? Well, one of the recent news said that the game is going to release with only 11 characters at launch. And unfortunately, characters sell games above anything else. Granblue is known for a wide cast of characters. This franchise releasing with 11 characters only is a big mistake. This game was already fighting an uphill battle, and now with only a few characters, and they're selling a bunch of them post-launch already, feels like a big cash grab. And I think because of that, it's not going to be able to attract new fans, even though it has added a bunch of new game modes, like story modes, dungeon stuff, etc., etc. So this that I just did, this like freestyle on these two topics, would be something that I would be freestyling while typing, and that's kind of how all of this happened. The final topic: expectation versus reality equals success versus failure. Basically, a game is considered a failure or a success based on the budget the developer spent on it or the publisher spent on it, and what they expect the game to sell. Of course, if you have your low expectations, this game could actually be considered a success. In fact, it's being adopted by the fighting games community. It's already scheduled to be in a bunch of tournaments. From that lens, the game is a success. But we're talking about Cygames. Cygames is publishing this, and Cygames is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They have this cash cow called Granblue Fantasy, and they are trying to expand the Granblue Fantasy into the West, doing so with Platinum Games and Arc System Works. How much do you think this game needs to sell to please a multi-billion-dollar corporation? It needs to sell a lot. So from that perspective, this game is a failure. And that's kind of the mindset. I have an idea, I have an opinion. Sometimes I'm just reporting on facts, but it always comes from this place of, all right, I want to talk about this thing. Let's put my thoughts into topics, and from topics we elaborate on each one of them. And we go from there. Perhaps to show you an even better example, I'm going to start from scratch. Brand new video. This video is going to be titled something along the lines of "Thank you, Naruto, Shinobi Striker." Now, I've been shitting on a lot of games lately, and actually that's exactly how I'm going to start. I've been shitting on a lot of games lately. So it's time to praise developers who have done it right. Okay, and this is kind of the intro that sets up the premise for the whole video. The intro might not be this exactly by the time I'm done with the script, but this is the idea I want to convey. So what did Naruto Shinobi Striker do to, what did it do right? Well, it did a lot of stuff. I know some of it, but I don't know all of it. So this is where research comes into play. So maybe I would search for Naruto Shinobi Striker updates. And I would just search for new news stories or Bandai Namco patch notes or whatever. See what they added over time and make sure I include every major thing. So this is a painful and long process. This takes a long time. New SS Rare Scientific Ninja Tools. I mean, okay, cool. But the biggest news here is not that they added SS Rare items, is that they revamped the loot system. So maybe that's a topic I need to talk about. Revamped loot system. All right. And explore this topic a little bit and not just talk about the system itself, but what I like about it. It's important as a YouTuber to not just report on the facts, but also give your own personal spin on it. Otherwise, you are just a news channel and people just subscribe to you to know the news. And they don't subscribe to you because it's you giving the news. And I think that's very important. So this would be one. What did they do here? I mean, they added Zabuza, of course. I mean, they added a whole game mode. They added a game mode. They keep releasing characters. On a great schedule, by the way. On a great schedule.
They updated the UI too.
Yeah, UI. There you go. You're helping me write the script. My point at the end is there are a lot of haters out there. There are a lot of haters still. But they've quieted down because they're not interested in the game anymore. It's fallen off their radar. And in that sense, Shinobi Striker is becoming the next Xenoverse. Now, a lot of people are going to hear Xenoverse and they're going to think that's a bad thing, but I actually mean it in a very positive light, which basically means the people who don't care about it have grown tired of complaining about the game. So the community that enjoys it is allowed to enjoy it without being constantly bombarded by criticism on Twitter for playing a game they love. So in a way, these developers have catered to the Shinobi Striker community in a way that made that community very happy, and they have constantly addressed issues with the game, and the people who hate it are never going to come back, no matter what you do. And that's a lesson that I think a lot of games should take. There are a lot of people just making noise for the sake of making noise. And all of this will eventually end up on the script. I don't want to take too much time because this is actually the work I do, but this is the time to teach you about the work I do and not actually do the work. But I am going to move on from scripts to editing, unless, Live and Spirals, you have anything you'd like me to cover still on this topic.
I think you're doing a pretty good job. I just mainly wanted to get an idea of like the mentality that you go into when it comes to scripting. So I think it's pretty cool that you approach it from like an essay point of view, and then treat it by adding your own personal flair to it even more so.
It totally feels like an essay every time I sit down to write a script. It totally feels that way. It feels like I'm back in school and I'm just writing an essay on a topic. That said, it's an essay that doesn't quite have to be, super scientific. It's important that you're right and that you're correct on the things that you present as facts, because otherwise you get a bad reputation for someone who spreads misinformation. But if you make a little mistake here and there, it's fine. It's not like you get a bad grade or anything. It's just people point it out in the comments, and that's okay.
Exactly, you're human.
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna move on to video editing. This is gonna look a little weird for a while. This scene. Okay. I have a review. I have the Fairy Tail video, and I have the Haku Shinobi Striker review, kind of. We're gonna check the Haku later, because that's a tough project. The other two were fairly simple, but also very different between themselves. So I'm gonna show you the finished project, and then I'm gonna start doing everything that I did on that video, so you can see how it was built. Let me start with maybe the Fairy Tail video. Okay, so here we have the finished project, and hopefully OBS is showing this correctly. Yeah, you can see on the top right, you can see the final video, right? You can see it scroll by. This is an inside studio at, and over here on the main thing we have the timeline. So if you don't know how editing works, basically you pick files, which can be found here. I drag the files into the project, and then from the project I drag them here. Down here we have the soundtrack. Here we have the voiceover. The mango color is the camera. The blue color is videos that I probably downloaded from the internet. So this would be the trailer here, for instance. Over here, it's still more trailer, more trailer, more trailer. Here is One Piece Pirate Warriors, the section where I show the game. So how does this all start? It all starts with a blank slate. So let's create a new sequence, call it Fairy Tail Tutorial. All right, and I'm going to try to replicate everything I did there. So I've recorded this video with camera, which means I'm going to pick up the camera, put it here on the timeline. It's a long video. There's a big pause here because someone rang the door and it was the mail. So I had to get out of my seat and stay out of my seat for a while. Then we have the voiceover right here. Okay. So the camera has audio, but the audio is really bad. These games could be considered RPG. So we are going to use the microphone. This is not synchronized, but synchronizing is pretty easy. Select both, synchronize, audio point. All right. So now we have the video and the audio synchronized. We can delete the shitty audio from the camera. All right. And now we're left with a good video and a good audio. let's start the editing. So I think the video starts around here, actually. So yesterday, a new fairy... Exactly, so everything else is deleted. Then there's a big break here. Let's delete that. And every time there's a cut, you have to check the cut to see if it sounds correct. Inside, I believe Gust is an inside... Okay, I believe this is when the cat jumped down. Which I believe is an inside... I believe Gust is an... Yeah, so I go ahead and cut the silences, cut the mistakes, and... This is kind of the process. I go through the actual video. I don't fast forward the way I'm doing it right now. I actually go and listen to the whole thing. But for the sake of time, I'm just doing everything we know. Doing some random cuts. I might even be cutting actual information, but that's fine. This is not the final video. It's just showing you what the process is like. And it continues, it continues, it continues. Until you're left with pretty much... this audio thing here and these mango things here, right? These mango things would be continuous throughout the whole thing. Like there won't be a gap here. There would be video here, for example. Once I'm done with it, for reference, I'll just make this mango too, so you have a point of comparison. All right, so let's say the video ends here. We're editing a 30-second video. So at the start of the video, I always try to have gameplay. I try not to start with my face. As you can see, my face is paused in a very funny frame, though. So we have a new game. We have a new Fairy Tail game. So let's pick the trailer and let's show that right from the start. Obviously, this part doesn't matter. I think this part is good. Open on those... Beautiful, that is so loud. So then I talk for a little bit. So yesterday, a new Fairy Tail game got announced out of nowhere. A new Fairy Tail game got announced out of nowhere. Koei Tecmo is published. And this is actually a good place to cut to my face. To go, hey, here's my face. So nowhere. Koei Tecmo is publishing this, and it's developed by Gust, which I believe is an the cat comes down, and I believe I make a weird noise. I try to take advantage of these weird noises and try to make something funny. Usually just like doing a quick zooming in, like this is enough. An insight, I believe. Like that. An insight, I believe. Though in this situation I sounded so much like Waluigi that I decided to search for a Waluigi image, and there he is. I decided to put a Waluigi on top of it. Now he's not in the right place because nothing is ever in the right place. You have to adjust this. Maybe rotate him a little bit. And now he's going to show up when I zoom in. It's an inside. I believe Gust is an inside studio at... I believe Gust... And that's actually a mistake right there. So cut that out. I believe Gust is an inside studio at Koei Tecmo. And this game is an RPG, which doesn't tell us much. That's a very broad term. So... Here's something else that I like to do. When I have myself speaking on camera, and there's a cut to myself speaking on camera again. That's a very broad term. I don't like the way this looks. That's a very broad... Tell us much. That's a very... So what I usually do is I hide that cut with a small zoom. Like that. So this way when it cuts... Tell us much. That's a very broad term applied to many different... It feels like the cut is sort of hidden, and it gives the video some more dynamic. So I try to avoid at all costs having cuts that look like this. From camera to camera, and it's just like I teleport in one frame back. Like, I don't like this at all. So I try to do that little zoom in thing. Because it looks like, oh, it just punched in. Like, my head is in a different direction. As you can see, I'm tilting to the left, and here I'm tilting to the right. But if it goes fast because of the zooming in, it kind of hides that cut. That's a very broad term applied to... If you didn't know there was a cut there, some people could be fooled. Not experts, but, you know, people. Alright, so this has been a long time without showing the trailer. I'm probably, at this point, searching for another place to insert some more footage. Term applied to many different types of games, but since this announcement... Yeah, probably here is a good place. So I take the trailer that I posted earlier. I don't want to show the same footage, so I'm gonna search for new footage, which is probably right there. Yeah. Put that there. Put that there. Since this announcement, I've been digging for information. Everything we know so far about Fairy Tail. The title is just Fairy Tail. There's no subtitle. Everything we know so... Oh, and I did this twice. Everything we know so far about Fairy Tail. I think first you should know what my thoughts are on the Fairy Tail show. Okay. So, how long did it take me to edit 25 seconds of this? I'm not entirely sure. How different was it from the original? Let me see. So it starts with the trailer, cuts to camera. There's the Waluigi. Cuts back to camera. And I actually cut to gameplay way sooner than I did. So that's also good. And then there's a joke here somewhere because the music stopped. Information. And I couldn't find much, but I'll share with you what I found. Indeed. Hello. Hey, Shinichi.
Yes, can you teach me how to get 100,000 subs on YouTube?
That is not Shinichi, that is Trainer Dom, I'm sorry. Yes, in the future. This is an editing tutorial now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Give me a second, I just got home. I'm gonna take off my uniform, I'll just let you know that I'm here.
Yeah, be my guest. I'll wait for you for some further tips. So, in short, that's kind of why it takes a long time to edit, because you got to go through all the cuts, make sure they sound good, and then you are selecting different scenes for each moment. Now, this whole video was 6 minutes long. I think it took me between 2 to 3 hours to edit this one, and this is a simple video. Because something that I like to do and that I hate watching videos like this, and I hate when other YouTubers do it. I just feel like tuning off, is when people don't do any of this work and they just have sort of the trailer playing on a loop as they talk about whatever they want to talk. Like it's like what you're seeing on screen is within the same topic of what people are talking about, but it's not helping them make a point or anything, or it's not cooperating with their arguments at all. So where's the trailer for Fairy Tail? Why is this ordered by frame rates? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's why I like watching your reviews on like new content as opposed to some other ones, because it's just
right. Because people will do
stream.
people will literally do this. They put the trailer right here, right? And then paste. Video is done. Like basically, you've edited the audio, and then all you need is to put the trailer on top of it, playing on a loop. Maybe cut the beginning of the trailer that has the little may contain. Okay, hi Dom. Stop derailing this, Dom.
Sorry, brother. Give me a second.
Okay.
Which I guess that's like an easy way for them to get the video out there if it's a race to like say that we have the content out already.
Sometimes it is a race. Sometimes it is a race, and whoever does it first gets the most views. That is a valid strategy, which is why I don't criticize those YouTubers openly, because I understand that's what needs to happen. But even for me, like, even this video is sort of rushed. This video that I did without this trick is kind of a fast video. So after I go through the process of cutting all the camera with the voiceover, and then selecting which scenes I'm going to show camera and which scenes I'm going to be showing the trailer, for instance. In here, I'm talking about Gajeel, so I went and downloaded a Gajeel picture. And something that a lot of people don't do is animate the picture itself. Like, a lot of people just have the picture sitting there, right? So I'm gonna hit play. Quite explain it, because I always drop off on the same moment. It's about that time when there's a picture that right there, dude who is also, it's the Steel Dragon or whatever, and he stops and back to camera. So this is a boring moment for me. Like, yes, you're showing the picture of the dude you're talking about, but it's just an image, and you're watching a video. It's supposed to move. So what I do is I just keyframe it, which means these are keyframes, okay? This is one keyframe, this is another keyframe. And what I've told the software to do is, on this keyframe, I want you to be at scale 100. At this keyframe, I want you to be at scale 120, which means that between these two keyframes, the image is going to get bigger. So I drag the first keyframe to the beginning, the second keyframe to the end, And now, instead of just having a still image,
they always drop off on the same moment. It's about that time
It
where
is slowly zooming in.
That villain dude who is also, it's the Steel Dragon or whatever, and he stopped.
Wow, that looks pretty cool. How do I get to see the visual?
God damn it. What, Dom?
The visual. You're explaining something that I had to.
Oh, right. On the Supreme God chat, scroll up a little bit and you have the link for the stream. Got it?
I think so. Yep.
All right, cool. So, just to catch you up, Dom, I am going through the editing process for 3 different videos. I'm still on the first one. And 2 of them are fairly simple, though they are very different. And then we have a final one, which is a lot more complicated. Okay. So this is the Fairy Tail video that I released today, basically. And then, something else that I like to do is whenever something happens, I try to make it sound funny. All right. So, for instance, when the cat thing happened, cat jumped on the table.
An inside. Wow.
I made a weird noise. So there's a quick frame there where my face is covered by Waluigi. Also, small detail, but makes all the difference. The music stops right here. I haven't even talked about music yet. I actually have a folder right here, which has a lot of chill beats and stuff like that I can just use when I don't have the time to search for an actual music for the video. Which is why you'll listen to a lot of the same tracks on my videos a lot, but that's fine. It gives my videos some form of identity, I guess. So yeah, this makes all the difference. Stopping the music. Then more. Then it's camera. A lot of zooming in and out, as you can see here.
Not yet, at least.
Zoom.
I think first you
zoom.
should...
So this is at 100 scale. This is at 120. Back to 100. And this gives the video more dynamic. It's much more engaging for the viewers to when you do this simple trick. 120, 100. Ahead we have 120 again. So this punching in and out, definitely a cool trick. And most people don't even bother having a camera, but when they do, they usually just go for the cuts. And this actually doesn't take that long to do.
It's about...
So we have this image. I've already went through over it. There's a moment there I talk more about the trailer, and then we get to a part where I'm talking about Musou games, where I'm talking about Warriors games. All right, let's go to the internet and find some gameplay. I actually know that I have some gameplay of Pirate Warriors on the channel, so that's something I can use without getting worried about copyright strikes or anything like that. But I think it's important to show the genre, because Fairy Tail doesn't have any gameplay so far. So showing this, which, by the way, Fairy Tail is not going to be a Musou, but Koei Tecmo does a lot of them. So in explaining what they usually do, hey, here's what a Musou looks like, right? But what the developer of Fairy Tail has done was some other games, namely the Atelier series. Now, no one knows Atelier, or pretty much no one. So, hey, here's a couple of trailers. You get an idea of what these guys have done before. A ton of games, as it turns out. Here's what Atelier looks like. Some more Atelier up here. Blue Reflection was another game developed by them. And then I think Knights... how do you say it, Dom? Knights of Azure? How do you say it?
You left.
Okay. Dom was giving me a hard time because of how I said it, the name of the game. Oh, this trailer, I actually had to cut it myself. Because, can you see this cut right here? So this goes from trailer to trailer. Why? Because if I didn't do this, it fades to black for a very long time. And then it's just letters. And this sucks. So like even these small details, I'm like, no, I'm not having this. So let me cut the trailer myself.
You won't have to wait.
And it's much more interesting that way. These files called desktop blah blah blah. This is me recording the screen. So in this case, I was recording the website for the Tokyo Game Show.
Next week at TGS, there will be a panel.
Here I'm talking next week at TGS, there will be a panel that explains more about the Fairy Tail game. Could I just be showing the trailer? I could, but I think I've shown the trailer enough throughout this entire video. Like, I don't want to have the trailer here again. I'm talking about TGS though, so let me record something TGS related. Does TGS have a trailer on YouTube? No, they don't. I searched. There's nothing there. But they do have a website. So hey, here's the website. And of course I did the trick of the scaling thing. So the website's gonna get bigger during this duration. Yes, there will be a panel dedicated to Fairy Tail, and more information will be revealed then. Just like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Oh, then I put the poll on top of the trailer. This poll has some simple effects. It's just the bevel edges. Yeah. So I have this favorites saved here. Also, the scale was like this. So when I put it in, it looked like this. That's ugly. So scale it up. All right. Now it's looking better, but still, it's ugly. So let's put a border on that. I actually have a preset ready for borders. Bam. All right. Looks a lot better. Cut to text, because I didn't want to have a cut from camera to camera. So I decided to make something up. Am I going to cover this game? As I said, am I going to cover this game? Because I think this was a question on a lot of people's minds. I mean, I kind of know that because looking at the Astral Chain video, some of the comments asked about it because the game got announced around the time that I released this review. So I saw a few comments asking about that. So like, yeah, all right. So this is a question people have. Let's highlight that question by asking, hey, am I going to ask? And then we have an end screen. The end screen is a preset that I made in After Effects. So by the time it gets to the video editing, I just drag it in. It's done. It was a lot of work to make this happen, but after it's done, it's just simple as dragging it in. Whew. So very simple video. There's still a lot to it. As you can see, there are multiple breaks in the music. It's probably for jokes, for comedic purposes. And I try to make my scene select. It's what I call the scene selection as good as possible. And what I mean by scene selection is I'm showing a trailer when I'm talking about the trailer. I'm showing my face when I'm talking about my opinion. I am showing a Muso game by a Muso game like many that Koei Tecmo do. I'm showing this game that is from the same developer. So I'm selecting what you are seeing based on what I'm talking about. And that's something that I'm constantly thinking is how can I support what I'm saying with what I'm showing. But yeah, even a simple video like this has a lot to it. Any questions about this video before I move on to the next?
No, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I think it's pretty cool because it's not like you storyboard it out from start to finish. It's kind of like when you're making the script, it's kind of like an organic process of.
Sometimes when I'm making this, sometimes when I'm making the script, I already have some editing ideas for sure. And sometimes I include jokes in the script that I know will work because of the video editing. So sometimes, yes, I already come into the edits with a pretty determined idea. But while I'm editing, I'm always thinking about, okay, this is a 10-minute video. I don't have the full 10 minutes planned out. Never. But there might be a couple of moments where I know what's going to happen. For the rest of it, I kind of add stuff as I'm editing. Yeah, that's about how it goes. Let's go into Astral Chain. Astral Chain doesn't have a camera, so the process is already different. First of all, the voiceover is almost completely intact. As you can see, there are a lot less cuts in this one. Whoa. I'm syncing something from... Oh, it's okay. Why is that? Because I can actually edit the voiceover in Adobe Audition. By the way, I keep all my edits organized in folders. Whenever, for instance, Fairy Tail. I have the Atelier Lulua launch trailer here. The Blue Reflection trailer is here. The One Piece Pirate Warriors gameplay is here. Knights of Azure trailer is here. Everything is in the folder where I edit the video. Okay, my raw camera footage is here. My voiceover is here. Everything is in the folder, so I know where to find it. There are a couple of exceptions. Sometimes I save images and I forget to move them here. So they're on the desktop right now. Like Waluigi is on the desktop. Gajeel is on the desktop. I forget to move them. And then I delete them accidentally and then they're missing from the file. But Accidents
I have that
happen.
issue too sometimes.
Yeah.
I've edited a video before, but I'm mainly a designer.
Mm-hmm.
So like there'll be times when like I'll download an image, and then I'm just like, all right, just slap it into whatever poster I'm working on.
Because
And then
Premiere has
I'll
this this thing where you let's search for an image. Gajeel, I guess. Gajeel Fairy Tale, sure. Like it has this thing where you save a Funko Pop. All right, perfect. You save the image, and it shows right here on the downloaded items, and I can just pick this up and put it on Premiere, and it works. It's great, right? Except the file is on the desktop. So then I delete it by accident and the whole thing's ruined. Anyway, it doesn't happen that often. So for voiceover, I don't have a camera here. So if I go to the Astral Chain review and open the voiceover I usually record it in Adobe Audition, and it's a lot easier to cut the audio here in Audition because it's an audio only software, so it's a lot easier to see the gaps. I know there's a break here, so I put a marker and I leave a big gap, but like as you can see from start to finish it's just voiceover. There are no random gaps in between like there were in the other video. So I do the audio editing here, and by the time it gets in here it's mostly done. It has those markers, and those markers represent the different chapters of the review, so I know when they're gonna happen. Let's actually close this, close the Fairy Tale project. No, don't save it, it's fine. Where'd it go? Astral Chain. Okay. I'm gonna create a new sequence here. Let's start Astral Tutorial. And I just put the voiceover there. And the voiceover is kind of done. It's got those markers, it's beautiful. And I know that from here to here, it's the introduction. From here to here, I'm talking about general gameplay. From here to here, I'm talking about combat, I think. I don't remember. So this is the basis upon which you will edit the video. In that aspect, it's similar to the other one, because in the other one, the camera plus the audio is the basis upon which you build a video. Here it's just the audio. It's not a big difference. So because I know the start is generic, I can kind of just pick some footage at random. As long as it looks like action-y enough, I can just, right here, sure, all right. Put it there, and I can just drag it all the way there. And then I see if it looks good. Hello and welcome to my review of Astral Chain, the latest game. It actually starts a bit slow. Actually, this is a terrible segment, because I remember this quest, and this quest is very slow. So I'm just gonna drag this, try to find something a bit more action-y. Maybe some combat, because people are expecting combat out of Platinum Games. Alright, this is a terrible segment, so I'm just going to delete that altogether. I'm going to go to another mission. Cool. I'm fighting here. Oh, this area has some camera problems. Generic footage is harder to find than you would think. The video is reading it slow now. Why? Come on. Oh. This looks fun. Is there some combat here? Feels like there's some combat around here. Maybe not. Oh. Shopping mall. We fight a lot in the shopping mall. Yeah, let that cutscene run. And there you go. There's some combat right there. So, Shinichi, to answer your question of why this takes so long, it's a lot of this. It's a lot of this. This clip doesn't Hello and welcome to my review of Astral Chain. This clip isn't good enough. Game from Platinum Games exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. It's a character action game like many that Platinum has gotten. That actually looks good. And hopefully that's a good introduction thing. Then, by the way, at this point I've already imported everything into the file. So if I need something else, I can go get it, but a lot of what I need to work is already here. And then I have this thing called the whoosh transition, which Rinnegan made, and he calls it Rinne Transition Fixed, but it's not the official name. And this is the thing that you see whenever there are transitions, like this. Whoa. Let's jump into it. And then, this is too long of a break, so I just need to crop this a little bit. Let's jump into it. Everything starts with you creating your character. Alright, now I'm talking about character creation. Now I need to search for the specific character creation moment. Which I think is sooner. Oh, wait. I have the file zoomed out. There you go. Character creation right there. I don't know for how long I talk about character creation. Usually I let the voiceover roll until I'm done.
You can choose a male or a female character
choose a male,
and slightly
female character,
customize
slightly
hairstyle and
customize
colors.
hairstyle and
The
colors.
character creation isn't too in-depth, and whoever
Still
you don't
talking.
choose ends up being your brother or sister in the game. And they are amazing.
Okay. Up till here, more or less. It's just character creation. Looks good. Okay. And from here, I'm talking about the sister being a major character in the game, so I gotta search for a scene with a sister. And I'm not gonna bore you with this. This is a lot. So, scene by scene, I'm going... How many seconds is this clip? 12 seconds. So, I'm finding 12-second clips for a 10-minute video. It's part of the reason why editing takes so long. Or at least my style of editing. I could just get here and here's my review of Astral Chain. It's this big long clip of the first chapter. Like, this sucks. This is not gonna help anybody see what the game's all about. They're gonna see the start of the game. But, like, it's not representative of the game as a whole. And especially with reviews, I think you need to be very careful with the scenes you select. Then I add... So, after I do all that, let me just grab just the voiceover and the scene selection. Alright, so let's say I've done all that, okay? And now I have the voiceover here, and I have the scenes all selected. I know what my video kind of looks like at this point. I also have the transitions at this point. So let me just shift this, and you... Oh, fuck. God damn it. Select all this, plus all of this, plus you... plus you. All right. So what I just selected was the gameplay, the voiceover, the transitions that you just saw earlier, which are these little dots here. Let's jump into it. Everything starts right. And I added the end screen because at the end, zoom out a little bit more. At the end, I know it's gonna end with...
in this universe, even after I beat the story. And that's my review for Astral Chain. If you're new to this...
With that. Next. To add a little bit of flavor to the whole review thing, first of all, my signature, right there.
Game from Platinum Games.
The lower third saying Globcool are the bushes, alright? And then on each chapter, I have a lower third that kind of looks like that, and this helps... structure the review, not only for myself, but also for the viewer. Because they're like, oh, now we're talking about this. It's obvious if you listen, but if you have something on screen that helps you understand that faster, then you can focus on what I'm saying rather than what is he talking about.
Bother you a lot or not?
So let's go through the transition, and you're going to see a lower third popping up with the topic that I'm talking about.
Let's jump into it. Everything starts with you creating your character.
General, what's this game? Alright, I'm talking about character creation, and I'm gonna go through, okay, what do you do? What do you do, basically? Next topic.
It's split between several different...
It's about gameplay, so let's put gameplay in there.
Gameplay is split between several different moments. Typically, you...
Perfect. Next transition. What's the next topic?
This game is both very familiar and fairly unique.
I think this is combat. Now, I don't usually go this fast. Usually videos take... multiple revisions, right? So I didn't get all these scenes perfectly the first time I laid them down. Some of them I was like iffy. I was like, it's acceptable. I'll let it slide. But when I'm going through it a second pass, as I am going right now, as I'm adding these lower thirds, it's what they're called. I don't fast forward. I watch this whole segment until the next lower third. And if something bothers me multiple times, it's getting replaced. It's getting out of there. Yeah. I know it's going to take time. I'm going to need to go back into finding a new scene to replace that scene. It's got to be a specific thing because I'm talking about specific things. And it's going to take time. But I think it's important, especially for reviews. For now, I'm going to fast forward because I know all these scenes are perfect. I've gone through them multiple times. Combats, and then we talk about story on this one.
Story-wise,
how long do you think you spend on per video?
Again, it really depends on the video. On the Fairy Tail video, it was between 2 to 3 hours because it was a very simple video. On Astral Chain, we're not counting the amount of time that it took me to beat the video and write the review, right? Because Astral Chain was a 4 to 5 day process. I think I beat the game in 3 days. It took me 2 days to write the review. And the second day was also the day that I edited. So on the second day in the morning, I finished the review. I recorded the voiceover. And I released the video around 7 p.m. that night. So yeah, I would say about 6 hours editing. And this is, of course, because I already have all the footage from playing the game. Like, I already had everything ready to just edit and not have to... Sometimes you're missing footage. Sometimes it's like, all right, I'm talking about character creation. Fuck, I didn't record character creation. So now I got to turn on my Switch. I got to turn on my capture software. And I got to record character creation because that has to be in the review. And that's even more time that is spent. This review must have taken, I would say, between 6 to 7 hours to edit. Because you can see all these cuts. All these scenes were handpicked. And you just saw me handpicking a couple of them and how long that took. So that's part of it. Let's finish this quick so I can show you the next step of the editing.
Now let's talk numbers.
Let's talk numbers. This is, I think, replayability. And then...
after the game is done. And now that you know my...
and then it's the score. The score bit, I'm just gonna copy paste it because this is a pain. This is a pain to add. But basically, I have these assets and I'm gonna explain what they are. Just gonna put them there for now. All right. So these are assets that were done in After Effects, and after they're done, you just put them in, but you gotta time them with what I'm saying, and it's annoying. So basically, this asset right here shows F and E and bad. The next asset shows D and C okay, and the last asset shows B and A good. This is a pain because now I gotta search for, okay, when do I say...
E are the bad games.
Oh, I already said it.
F and E are
the bad games, so I say it right here.
F and E are the bad games. D and C are okay or mediocre. B and A are the good games.
Okay, so actually that's perfectly synchronized. The footage in the background, you might have noticed that it has become blurry. If it wasn't blurry, it would be too confusing. I'm just gonna turn off the blur right now. Now there's too much on screen.
F and E are the bad games.
There's a lot of action. There are letters appearing out of nowhere. So I need people to focus on when I want them to focus. So I blur the background. This way they can focus on the letters, and because I'm explaining the review system. Then we give it a score. And in this case, the score was resounding A. And this is not quite well synced yet. Something like this. And this is another asset. This one I actually brought from TGN Anime. This was done by a very talented guy who does visual effects. I'm going through it in slow motions just so you can see the detail on this thing. Bam, A rank. And actually, I don't have to do any work at all if I want to change the score. I just change the letter right here. Now it's an F. Now it's an E. Now it's a C. So he created this thing and it's fantastic. And I love it and it's no work at all to put it here. But usually when I show the review score, I also accompany it by some line that is said in the game that, I don't know, fits the vibe. So this also takes a while to search this specific scene.
Chain.
In this case, Yosef says, "I've been waiting for you," which, yeah, I've been waiting for this game, and it is exactly what it promised to be. And now it looks like it's done, but no, it's not done. We still need a soundtrack. So for reviews, I don't use my folder of songs that I've showed you earlier with the filler beats. I don't go search in the library. I use the official soundtrack. So I go through a lot of songs in the soundtrack just to kind of hear their vibes. Some are more combat oriented. When I see one that I like, I put it in combat, or some are more I don't know, peaceful or whatever. And I put those in story, or I put those in the intro. The intro has to be a bit more mysterious, I feel. It has to be someplace in between. Can't be too heavy, can't be too calm. And that leads to a selection of soundtrack that looks like this. It's this whole line right here. And that is pretty much the review done. That said, this is still a pretty simple edit. I mean, it takes a lot of time because you are selecting a lot of scenes. But it's just selecting scenes, copy pasting, not pasting, but yeah, cutting, cropping, gluing them together. It's a fairly simple edit. Just takes a long time. Ready to jump to the tough edit? That was a question. Okay. Now, I have bad news. The Haku review, I've already deleted a lot of the files. So you're not going to be able to see a lot here. But I am going to give you just a basic idea of what a tough edit looks like. And as you can see, this is a lot busier. There's a lot more going on here. Right? So I believe here we have the soundtrack. Exactly. So these files here, I'm going to make them a different color. So this looks prettier and you guys understand what's going on. The yellow is the soundtrack. This is my voiceover after I've recorded every moment of gameplay. I'm gonna make that teal. And this is my voice while playing the game. And that's gonna stay green. How does this start? It starts with the gameplay. So let's say I still had the goddamn files. Haku tutorial. And the Haku tutorial had the loadouts video, which had a loadouts voiceover. It had this was actually the last video. It had not Haku poses. Haku unlock. No. Full video, please. Stop it. I don't have the full video. I can't do this. Okay. I can't do this. Haku makeover. Also not. Okay. So imagine I have 3 of these videos. Complete with voiceover. This video is almost 2 hours long. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. The whole thing. Start to finish. And whenever I see a funny moment, I cut it and separate it from the rest. So let's say up till I'm watching, you know, normally, and this is a funny moment right here. So I go, okay, this moment was funny. It lasted this whole duration up till here. Cool. That's cut. That's saved. I'm going to delete the rest because there were no funny moments here. And I keep going. And let's say, oh, this is another funny moment right here. And it lasted this whole way. Okay. Cut. Crop. Now I have 2 funny moments back to back. It's not just funny moments. It's also moments that are interesting to see or like good plays or stuff like that. Because I am reviewing Haku's abilities. So it is important to showcase those abilities. And I'm very, very lenient about what I find funny or interesting in this first run. Because it's easy, like if this ends up not being that funny in the final video, it's easy to cut it. Just delete, right? But it's not easy to go get it back. So I am very lenient in what I find funny and what I find interesting or whatever. After I'm done with that, I have a collection of moments. Which kind of look like this collection of moments right here, for instance. Let's take that, put it here. Like now I have a collection of moments. And I organize them, I put them in order, and I know that after this collection of moments, there's another collection of good moments on another match. Let's say there's another match here that also has some good moments. But if I put these clips back to back, they make no sense. They need something in between, and that's when I record something like this, something in between. And you can notice this on the final product, on the final video. And I make that very evident when I'm playing the game and when I'm not. Because, oh crap, I deleted that, huh? Okay. Where is my channel? Because when I'm playing, you always have subtitles. And when I'm not playing, you don't have subtitles. So I think it becomes very, very obvious when I'm doing that and when I'm not. Let's say, okay. So this would be, so this would be part of the collection of good moments. You see that there are subtitles there. Dom is complaining that he had a bomb and he died. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to see if we get one of those cuts. Alright, this is okay, there you go. And next up, we're talking about a different jutsu. So this is one of these moments in teal right here. Next up, we're talking about a different jutsu. And we're talking about a different jutsu, and then it goes into another collection of moments. Why does this take a long time? First of all, this video is 2 hours long. So it takes me, let's say 2.5 hours to cut all the funny moments. And that's just the first step of the video. After that, there's subtitling. Subtitling, I usually go... So subtitles... I'm gonna create a subtitle right here. A random subtitle so you see how long it takes, okay? So... I'm going to create. I have to select the font. I have to tell it it's all caps. I have to give it a stroke. Stroke is bigger. I have to center it, and I have to tell the position is centered on the screen. Oh, that's not it at all. 960? Yeah, okay. And then it's at the bottom. Okay. Now I don't have to go through this all the time. Once I do it once, I can just go Haku DLC Naruto. I'm actually gonna mute my voiceover so it's not confusing. I'm going to create some subtitles. Right, so I think here would be some subtitles. And then let's imagine there's a pause. And then so you can see how long this takes. Okay. These are 4 subtitles. If you want to count how many subtitles there are, multiply the time that it just took me to do these 4 subtitles by all of these, and you should have an idea of... I'm gonna zoom out. There are a lot. There are a lot of subtitles. On top of that, these subtitles are not animated at all. These are boring subtitles. So, what we're gonna do is, say scale is... Oh, actually, I need to change something first. I need to change the value. You don't need to understand this. But basically, I'm putting the anchor point right down there. This is 998. I'm just gonna copy paste this. Right. It looks the same, but it's not. It has to do with scale. Now the scale looks right, doesn't it? Like, oh, the text is getting smaller and bigger. If I didn't do this, it would scale like this, towards the middle. That's called an anchor point. So that's why I had to make that little change. Anyway, these subtitles are boring, so let's do the keyframing thing. Let's say, okay, I want it at full size here, but maybe I want it to start smaller. And goes very fast. And there you go. It zoomed in. Yeah, and then I animate every single subtitle. Not every single one, but the ones that I think need animation. And that all usually depends on the way I'm talking. Sometimes I do some things like and when I say I usually have the subtitle go so let me try to show. I usually have the subtitle go like you know, just reducing in size before it moves on to the next thing. Yeah, and then on top of that, every time someone else talks, it's a different color. So we go through all that. See, this subtitle here is animated moving to the right and fading in and out. You have to animate every single one of these. And that's why these edits should not be done in a day. But somehow I pull it off and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to find a new solution for these. On top of that, every time I'm talking about abilities, the ability would show here, but I've deleted the ability file. I go into the game, I capture Haku doing some weird poses, whatever, in Konoha, and then I have the ability with the text popping up. And this is all tough stuff that takes a lot of time. But yeah, this is what a more complex video looks like, and keep in mind that a more complex video for me is still a very simple video for a lot of other YouTubers. There are some truly talented people out there that take a full week to edit a video, and they only release a video a week. I cannot afford that luxury, but I can go this far for now. That about wraps it up from me. I am open to showing you anything you want to see or teaching you anything you want to learn. I have 2 messages from Natsu, but it's fine. I give you guys the floor now. Anything you guys want, or we'll just conclude the lesson or the tutorial.
Let's see.
Hmm.
I guess, where do you, when it comes to asset acquisition, what are your steps in getting like different assets for different things? Like, I know you said you use what's that program again?
After Effects?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So do you make that all yourself, or do you have somebody else, or?
Most of it is me, Rinnegan, and Fajitas. I can show you what we work with the most, actually. And After Effects is cool because it's only one window. I actually don't use 2 windows for this, so we don't need that weird thing. Let me see. So I have an After Effects folder. I did the new end screen. Kind of all by myself. I did have another channel that I used for reference, and it was kind of my inspiration for making this new end screen. See, once you see it, you'll see the similarities, but if I didn't show you, you wouldn't probably notice. Something Frame Plus? New Frame Plus, yeah. So let's do this random video. Here's an ad. Cool, thanks YouTube. So his end screen actually looked super clean, and I was like, I want to make an end screen like that. Because at some point I'm going to have more bushes, and I'm going to need more space for the bushes. This is not the end screen, hang on. He's almost there. Should be there in 3 seconds. There you go. Like, this looks super clean, and I love it. And the main thing that drew me to it is how many names from Patreon he can fit on his end screen. And I'm like, of course, scrolling text. That's such an obvious solution. Once I get more bushes, I can still fit them on the screen with scrolling text. So I'm going to future-proof my own thing here and make this happen. So what did I do? Well, this image is my avatar. Obviously, I had access to it. This image is the Patreon, so that's just a download. It goes through a few steps of animation, but the concept is always keyframing. Let me start from this beginning, I guess. So first thing I did was just make it shine. You can see that there's a glow going in and out. And that's all this does. The Patreon button, same thing. It also glows. All right. From there, I animate each one of these. They're already glowing. So I make them, I put the transition there. And I make them come in. Where are the, let's do you. Okay. So I don't need you. Okay, stop it. After Effects, come on. So this is the concept of keyframing that I was talking about. Scale, right? There are 3 keyframes right here. It starts on 0 at this point. At this point, it goes to 130. And then at this point, it goes back to 100. So when you see it in motion, it starts at 0, so it's invisible. It's not there. It grows, goes past 100, and then comes back to 100. And it looks like it's coming towards the camera, and then finally settling down. And with it, there's a punch sound that is very, very light. But if it's not there, you will feel like you're missing something. So in real time, kind of in real time. Pop. You just see it like that. And this is just working with scale. This is just me making it bigger and then coming back down to the ground. And I made the exact same thing with the Patreon button, but I delayed it a little bit. Patreon starts here, and YouTube starts further back. But they all do the exact same animation. Back, back. The next step is a bit tougher, which is this. Subscribe and top supporter showing up. For this, I would need to explain what masking is. But in very broad terms, you see this rectangle sort of invisible right here? I basically told After Effects that when the text is inside the rectangle, it should be invisible. And then I made the text descend. And when it descends, it becomes visible. So this, again, is just keyframing. It's at this point, I want the text to be up here. At this point, I want the text to be down here. That's pretty much it. And then a square appears there at the bottom, which is the recommended video right here. And this is the full animation, but it's missing the sponsors. So the sponsors, I have them on a separate thing. These animations were done by Moxness, the guy at TGN that did my review assets as well. He's very talented. He does animations. He's crazy good. I wouldn't know how to do this. So here I just have the names. And then on this one, I take the names and I animate them. Again, with keyframing. They start below the screen and they end on their final position. So in between, you will see them coming up. Bam. In the future, if I have more, I can keep them going up if I want to. Let's see. It's the Y position, right? I can keep them going up if I want to. Maybe up to here. And then what I can do is create a mask. A mask right here with some feathering. Feathering is basically the edges aren't hard anymore. So they kind of become semi-transparent. And I actually need to change this path a little bit. What's the tool? I think it's this one. I need to expand it a little bit. Like that to the sides. And then I say, hey, when the sponsors thing touches this square, it's invisible. So, bam, they disappear. Of course, the square has to go all the way to the top. Otherwise, it doesn't work. There you go. So now, when the letters touch the square, it disappears. Beautiful. This is the end screen. Made it myself. What else? Everything else is a lot simpler, I think. I actually don't know how Rinnigan made the transition. Let me see. Globcool, YouTube. Go Premium is a simple animation in comparison. It's just the logos and the text coming up. And then they go away. I don't use this very often. The lower third, I have an idea of how we did it. But again, it's you scale the bush from 0. You make it bigger and then back to 100 scale. And then you have the text coming out with a mask. Same idea as what I just showed. This, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did this transition. I have kind of no idea. I asked him to do something inspired by the My Hero Academia transitions. My Hero Wants Justice. Because My Hero Wants Justice, when you start a match, it has this transition. And I thought that transition is super fast, super smooth, and I can hide something behind it. So basically, when I'm going from one scene to another, you see the first scene here. And then when the screen is all green, I switch it to the other scene on the background, and you don't see the cut. I actually don't know how he did this exactly. I could ask him if you're curious. But I do... these assets, we did them all ourselves. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, this is actually pretty informative.
Awesome. Anything else before we go? Before we call it a day?
I think that pretty much covers most of my things that I was curious about.
All right. I'm happy I was able to answer your questions. Dom made it, and I'm happy Dom made it. Glauco is just one important question. If I started using my laptop to make videos again, I know all that video stuff is saved somewhere. Can that storage get so overwhelming that it slows down the computer, and how to prevent it? I delete everything at the end of the month. So my edits folder, as you can see right now, what I have is the Hotborn trailer. I have the stream promo videos. This is nothing more, nothing else than the video that plays on Twitter. On Twitch, whenever I'm on break. This video right here. Right? You've seen this on a stream now. And it just plays on a loop. So I've done that recently. So I have the Hotborn trailer. I have that stream promo. The Haku review, I've actually deleted most of it. I just kept this for this tutorial. The Fairy Tail thing and the Astral Chain review. This thing is me converting big files into smaller files. Don't mind that. So this is because it's the beginning of the month and I've recently cleaned up. But most of it, yeah, I usually reach the end of the month and I just delete it all. That's what I do. I do have a separate folder, and this needs cleaning up once in a while. This is basically footage that I use on a regular basis. So for instance, Kakarot. I have the trailers for Kakarot right here. Like, I know I'm gonna need the trailers for future videos, so I just keep them on a separate folder. I don't keep it on the project folder because I know the project folder is gonna get deleted. So it's not stored somewhere secret that you have to go looking for. Vegeta told me it's hard to file. Oh, I know what you're talking about. So yeah, I actually found a solution for that. So there is a folder. Ooh, see. Okay. App data. I think it's this folder you're talking about. Yeah. So this is a hidden folder. You have to type the path to get there, and this folder can get big. Yeah. This folder is at 62 gigs right now. But Rejoice for Premiere has an option to delete those files automatically on a regular basis. It's just an option that we had not found before, and I think Vegetas is still not using that option. Now I need to find it myself, because I set it up a long time ago. Let me see if I can find it. Media cache. There you go. Automatically delete. Whoop. Automatically delete cache files older than 90 days. Every time there is a file older than 90 days, it gets deleted. So that folder that I just showed you, it probably doesn't get much bigger than 60 gigs. Because now I'm adding new files tomorrow, but the files from 90 days ago are getting deleted. And also, you don't need these files at all. Like, if you delete them, the worst that can happen is next time you open Premiere, it's going to take you some time for those files to conform again, for it to calculate audio waves and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to delete it for sure. Media cache files on preferences, that's how you find this. You can also just come here and click the browse button. It will take you right to the folder. Actually, no it didn't. What the fuck? What? Okay. You can delete unused. You just click that. Premiere has an option to do this. And Vegetas is still not using it apparently. So there you go. Yeah. That was months ago when he showed me. Yeah, right. That is an important file to, folder to keep in mind. As a beginner trying to edit videos, the folder just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I was running out of space all the time. I had no idea why, and that was very spooky. So Live in Spirals, I'm happy that I was able to answer your questions. You don't seem to have any more. Trainer Dom, you seem to be done as well. And Shinichi, unfortunately you're not here, but I really tried to show you why editing takes a long time. And I hope I was able to do that, because that seemed to be your main question. With that, gentlemen, let me ask once more. Is this lesson concluded? Are we now masters at script writing and video editing? No, we're not. Of course we're not. It takes a lot of time. but hopefully you get an idea now. All right, folks, that was the first Supreme tutorial. It's now available for everyone to watch after the live stream is over. But yes, if you want to be a Supreme Bush, you can ask me for anything. It doesn't have to be related to YouTube or video editing. It can be. If you want YouTube advice, absolutely, I'm willing to give it out. I think strategy is super important. Knowing how the platform works is more important than actually knowing how to edit videos. It's unfortunate, but video quality does not always mean views. And that's a lesson you will learn very, very fast if you're trying to do YouTube. But yeah, if you want to learn how to, I don't know, play Kid Buu, I'm here for you. I can teach you Kid Buu. If you want to get better at fighting games, I'm here for you. Arena fighters, whatever. Whatever I can help you with, you guys get to request. New Supreme tutorial coming up next month. And if you're a Supreme Bush, you'll be able to choose the topic in the very private chat that we have. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And I hope you guys learned something today.